We have cozy, we have stress, and we have cozy again. Welcome back to the Dream Drop. I'm Tricky Tom, here to take you through what games you need to know about that are releasing the week of June 29th. So turn off the lights, grab some day-old McDonald's McCafe sugar-free vanilla iced coffee, and settle in. But wait, I am being overcome by the spirit, praise be, and it is reminding me to thank our sponsor, End Zone Productions' Chickenhare and the Treasure of Spiking Beard. It's a 3D platformer meant for the whole family. Chickenhare started out as a comic book, then eventually made its way onto film, and just recently jumped into video games. You will take control of 3 unlikely heroes, Chickenhare, Meg, and Abe, switching between them as needed to solve puzzles tailored for each one. There are 5 handcrafted, secret-filled environments and a wholly original story that reads as a love letter to the franchise. And get this, inside the game are clues leading to a real-world treasure. Nobody has found it yet, so it's yours for the taking. At 50% off for the Steam Summer Sale, it's a real steal. Use our link in the description below, and it'll let this Belgian indie studio know that we sent you. Alright, now that the spirit is done speaking through me like a flesh puppet, let's get to it. Calmed by the Dark, PC. We're kicking off with a gritty dystopian adventure. Humans coexist with monstrosities called biomorphics, and you take the reins as John, a real Joe Schmo who ends up wielding enough power to change the world in any number of ways with multiple endings that this game has. On its face, Calmed seems to draw similar elements from The World Ends With You and the visual identity of Octopath Traveler, with some cyberpunk splashed in there. But it also seems to share a measure of DNA with the anime Tokyo Ghoul, what with John becoming a bridge between humans and biomorphics, which are another predatory subspecies of humanity. Look for this drop on June 29th. Blood Gauntlet, PC. Intense platformers are somewhat trite by this point. What else have you got? Well, how about an intense platformer where you're constantly bleeding out? See, something like that will keep the player from being too measured or cautious, as they are with more run-of-the-mill entries in the genre. The point of this gothic vampire game is controlled chaos, where you slash and smash in order to replenish your constantly draining life. It's a neat little reverse of the archetype, where you, as the vampire, are having the life drained out of you, as opposed to using subterfuge to pilfer the life of others, drip by drip. This drops June 29th. The Message from Deep Space, PC. One of my favorite YouTube channels of all time is Let Me Know. He has a video on the history of human-sent interstellar messages, which you need to watch. It's fascinating. How exactly would one communicate with an alien life form, especially with positively no understanding of their culture, intelligence, or history, if those concepts even apply to them? What common baseline could you possibly have? The answer is math. 2 + 2 = 4 here, just as it would anywhere else in the universe. And so you will take on the role of a mission translator tasked with deciphering an alien language in 1973. Why the 70s? I don't know, maybe it's to tie in thematically with Carl Sagan a little bit. Voyager 1's golden record is listed as one of the inspirations behind the game. Anyway, as the translator, you will design radio transmissions and play with frequencies to communicate with a meteorite that is somehow talking to us. Keep track of word patterns, syntax, and meanings. It promises to be a dense scientific journey where you'll be supported by a team of other experts, such as a linguist, a programmer, and an astronomer. This game looks like a promising way to take that noggin out for a good walk. This drops June 29th. Telluricene, PC. This one is more of a visual novel, but it tickles that same scientific part of my brain all the same. You are a top researcher tasked with studying a rapidly spreading, highly intelligent new species. and you only have 10 days to do it. It'd be hard enough if it were just about the science of it, but you'll also bump up against, good old ethical conundrums and the needs of the state. It's a triforce that is never in balance. The story invites you to wonder, how would you and humanity at large respond to the emergence of a new, highly intelligent species? This isn't a monster hunt, though I'm sure that would be on some people's minds. What does it mean to snuff out life for your own survival? Would you frame scientific discoveries to shape the wider narrative according to your views? What if that was in the name of national stability? See, discovery can be messy. This drops June 30th. Forgotten Blood, PC. This one is a dark fantasy action RPG that borrows from King's Field and the Souls series, both developed by FromSoft. A plague has infested the land and its inhabitants, leaving you to find a way to pull the world from the brink. Forgotten Blood's special flavor is its angel punk narrative approach that touches on theological themes that explore the relationship between humans and the divine. Typically, I think media explores that dynamic in more introspective or hopeful settings, or even science fiction, since typically that genre lends itself to the idea that humans exist in a post-God world. To open that philosophical can of worms in a dark fantasy setting where the divine unquestioningly exists and may either be mad or impotent is a pretty fun prospect. This drops June 30th. Space Desk, Idle Spacefleet Clicker, PC. I love history of any kind because it's usually a story of how people adapt to changing times. And it's fascinating to see how gaming itself is reshaping to a world that is seeing more people work from home, either for a company or themselves. We've seen a few games like this just in the past few weeks. So as we've covered desk space, like other games in the idle genre, it just runs on your desktop and lets you multitask while you're doing more important things, right? For better and worse, it lends itself to keeping your real-world productivity up without getting bored. Command space armadas, harvest resources across the galaxy, and expand your galactic corporation while you write emails for that real one. Needless to say, the game has passive elements that continue to work while you're not directly interacting with it. This drops June 30th. Bugscraper, PC. If idly playing at your desk is not enough to calm your frazzled nerves, then it might be time to storm the corporate office and take your grievances directly to the CEO. You can do it solo, or, if you got some other frazzled coworkers, in co-op. You control Mio and his companions as they ascend this giant skyscraper floor by floor and taking out swarms of other insects along the way. Usually working your way up in business is supposed to be a positive thing, but here things just get uglier and uglier, and I think that's more true to life than any employee training video. So why are you doing this? Well, in the hopes of finally settling the score with your tyrannical corporate overlord. It's a cathartic release that I think we can all make use of. This drops June 30th. Hey, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, you filthy animal. Tumbles, PC. Competing to get higher and higher is not exclusively a corporate theme. You see it in nature as well. Take on the role of a newly hatched caterpillar who needs to make their way from the dark forest floor to the sunlit leaves of the canopy above. It's heavily physics-based, and you'll be using a slingshot system to get further up, but it won't be smooth, and there will be plenty of setbacks. Endearingly, this little critter will help illustrate a lot of journeys in life. In fact, the game was inspired by the ups and downs of overcoming PTSD, the constant cycles of making hard progress, suffering sudden setbacks, and then finding the will to try again. Psychological recovery is exhausting, but reaching the light is always worth it in the end. Now see, we have a lot to learn from tenacious caterpillars. This drops June 30th. The Girl in the Window, PC. Brain teasers and puzzles may conjure images of lazy Sunday afternoons, but they can find themselves in high-stakes scenarios as well. Case in point, escape rooms. Haunted escape rooms if you need more. The town of Hidden Town is home to a 20-year abandoned, home, wherein residents have spotted a mysterious silhouette roaming about through the windows. You play as Dan, a brilliant man who smartly takes it upon himself to venture into the house alone. Needless to say, things go downhill fast as he is locked in with no escape. Investigate the home, comb through drawers, crack codes, solve riddles. This isn't a self-contained experience either, as more chapters in this self-proclaimed Dark Dome universe are planned. Do people leave marks on the spaces they once inhabited? That's a question that drops June 30th. The Song of Will, Act 1, PC. A new entry in the 2D JRPG genre, Song of Will invites you to explore a charming and cute world after waking up from some sort of slumber, I gather. In my experience, self-proclaimed cute, wacky games are like self-described cute, wacky people. They got things going on you don't expect and really don't want to know about. But this does sell the wackiness pretty hard, I must say. Befriend strange creatures, make use of weird weapons like water guns and pet dancing bats. If the cliche, oh my god, I'm so random, hipster type from the 2010s was turned into a game, this might be, This drops June 30th. Hammerhead, PC. Now enough with the ice cream sherbet color palette. Let's get back to the dark and dusky, right? Hammerhead gets us back to themes of isolation and nostalgia. This narrative-heavy game sees you making use of a computer to slowly recover your suppressed memories. Every successful puzzle solved is another breakthrough. I'm sure it's all berries and cream, huh? Now, it wouldn't be a great story game without multiple choice decisions to make, so look forward to that. What I find intriguing is stories where the character has to resurface buried memories include them going out and discovering things, usually, or reliving events. But Hammerhead keeps you in a room with a computer. You're sequestered away from the world, living a lonely life. Is it because of your suppressed trauma, or did this lifestyle cause it? I don't know, but it begs the question, how much trauma are we inflicting on ourselves while we isolate ourselves more and more? This drops June 30th. Thief's Adventure, PC. You could argue that thief-based games play on the notion that human ingenuity can overcome raw institutional power if given a chance. No matter how many guards or security systems you put in place, I can take that thing you value so highly if I wanted. It's a bit of a power fantasy. Thief's Adventure gives you 3 unique characters to guide you through that fantasy. Someone who can quietly eliminate guards, someone who can pick locks and set traps, and someone who can disguise their appearance. Work your way through handcrafted levels that range from cozy villages to bigger towns and to dank prisons. This drops June 30th. Indigo's Dreams, PC. Mixed media games are a big swing. If you're going to include videos and images and whatnot in your game, many players need a good reason. Well, Indigo here has found herself in a wonderland of sorts and needs to find her way home. Surrealism seems to be at the core of this platformer. And like most Wonderland stories, it looks like changing your perspective, or maybe even the concept of fabricating worlds to avoid something, could be one of the themes on display. Or hey, maybe the art direction is just like that because it looks fun. This drops June 30th. Turbo Hatchback, Time Attack, PC. This game is what I imagine is going through other drivers' heads when I'm coasting down the highway doing like 5 over, and they're just blowing past me, cutting me off and pissing me off. Take the wheel in this arcade racer and leave safety rules behind as you scramble and tumble and drift to beat the clock. Maybe the underlying theme here is man's obsession with time, literally racing past sights and sounds that are worthy to stop for. Or maybe driving hella fast is just fun. This drops June 30th. Crystal Journey, Lum's Adventure, PC. This 3D puzzle adventure sees you guide Lum, a light spirit, through a series of multi-layered environments on his quest to ultimately find the great magic crystal. Basically, help the kid get the shiny thing. You'll use physics and perspective, rotating the environment itself to progress. Each realm, each level has a distinct identity, and it sounds like more will be added in the future. And no, it doesn't seem like this is meant to be a strain on your wits. In fact, the low-poly art style and ambient soundtrack will surely wash away whatever grime is coating your brain that day. This drops June 30th. Cat Squeeze, PC. As I'm sure Neil deGrasse Tyson tells his servers in lieu of a tip, matter takes the form of either a solid, a liquid, or a gas. Cats are famously a liquid. And octopi. Those things could squeeze through a keyhole if they wanted to get to you bad enough, so don't ever piss one off. But thankfully, here you take on the role of a cat named Coco, who uses its viscosity to navigate the cat god's trial to snag the ultimate feline reward, a trove of endless dried fish. One low-key revelation to take away from this is that the existence of a cat god implies that cats do indeed have souls. Wild stuff. Push blocks and navigate your way through mazes of tiny pipes when this drops July 1st. Ash of Gods, Tactics, PC. This is a deck builder featuring combat laid out on a grid, but it also features hand-drawn art and rotoscoping. Now, for those of you who didn't just Google it now while I write this, rotoscoping is the technique of tracing on top of live-action footage, frame by frame. It's painstaking. It's also how the Lord gave us this little gem. Tactics boasts some chops if you'd like to support human work from human hands. This artistic direction complements a game all about strategy and outthinking your opponents. This strategic mindset is not confined to combat either, as every choice you make reshapes the narrative, leading you to one of multiple endings. If the story in particular resonates with you, know that this game is a prequel to Ash of Gods Redemption, in case you have not played that one. This drops July 1st. There is no lore, PC. As we've covered, some deck builders bolt the gameplay loop onto a compelling narrative full of world building and lore, and some don't. This game goes out of its way to let you know not to expect the second coming of Tolkien. I can see why, too. If you base your game's aesthetic around fantasy, there's an innate expectation that mountains of incomprehensible lore will be attached. It's something I struggled with when I was reviewing Witchspire. It was a real proper noun hell. Anyway, the game is aware of the genre's obsession with excessive backstory and exposition, and sidesteps it all in favor of a good deck-building loop. There are over 90 unique cards to collect and use in creating multiple decks for whatever boss you may encounter, and it boasts controller support in case you have $1,300 to burn and really want to play this on your couch. This drops July 1st. Lullabies Made of Static, PC. The world is gone, and only echoes remain. Now, I had to pull that directly from the Steam description because it's so effective on its own. Urban isolation feels like an oxymoron, but it is a very real, very thriving subgenre that includes the likes of Babdi, which itself was one of the inspirations behind this game. And if you haven't played Babdi, well, but you are a lone wanderer, making your way through empty ruins of a megacity, now fallen silent. You will explore this metropolitan mausoleum for forgotten cassette tapes, which contain fragments of all things, human emotion. Now, why would human emotion be at the center of a post-apocalyptic game? Why not survival, or some kind of commentary on war, or climate change? Well, When humans are gone, what goes with us but our loves, our fears, and our desires? It may be unsettling, but this journey through the last city on Earth may help you stop and think for a minute. It drops July 1st. HAUNTMATES, PC. If you're a fan of content warning or lethal company, then HAUNTMATES will make another fine addition to your collection. Team up with 3 other friends and journey into procedurally generated zones brimming with supernatural activity. Gather and share clues with each other on your investigation board to discover the entity's name. Then make your way to the extraction zone without dying. And be quick. The longer you take, the worse things get. To be more clear, more monsters will spawn. This drops July 2nd. Kitty Witchy, PC. Hey, another witch game. Awesome. This 3D puzzle adventure invites you to take advantage of your magic and your feline companion to find your way home. Utilize the elements and use powers of freezing and burning to manipulate the environment and gain access to things such as portals, pressure plates, and whatever else that'll help you get from point A to point B. When you get stuck, your faithful cat Cosmo is there to help you reach where your human form can't. As we've established, Cosmo does indeed have a soul, so you're in good hands. This drops July 2nd. Hollow Ground, PC. In case you weren't aware, the 1990s are all the rage right now with the young folks, even if the people who were there are not so much. That means we're getting games inspired by arcade shoot-'em-ups of the time. You and up to 3 friends can team up to save the world from extinction by traversing 40 floors underground and taking out the terrible biomechanical weapon known as the Machine. In this top-down shooter, you must push on relentlessly, avoiding mutated terrors and traps of all kinds. And as if you needed more motivation, your health steadily and permanently decreases every second you're running the Gauntlet. This drops July 2nd. Master Healer Kale with Useless Party, PC. Every party needs a healer, but very few people ever want to step up and be one. Why? Well, there's no glory, and most RPG players yearn for that power trip fantasy of being an unstoppable tank. This game flips that dynamic on its head, where you are the healer in a party that's largely incompetent. From an archer who's no good, to a tank who won't stop sleeping, to a mage who's unreasonably mean. And it's up to you to keep everyone alive long enough to vanquish the Demon King. Thanklessly, I'm sure. If you've ever felt underappreciated at your job, even though you're the reason why the lights are still on, this game gets you. This drops July 3rd. The Carcass, PC. This reminds me of text-based RPGs from before my time. In the Carcass, you awaken on board, or rather in, a dead god. It pulls from Lovecraftian inspirations and splashes in hefty amounts of old-school CRT tech. This is not a point-and-click. If you want to do something, you'll have to type it out. Just like the old days. How's that nostalgia working out for you? As you get your settlement up and running, which, by the way, is crafted inside the anatomy of the dead god, you'll be tasked with managing citizen stats, navigating technology, and negotiating with alien factions. You see, what's fascinating about the Carcass is its approach to interstellar colonization. We usually envision ourselves as futuristic seafarers, making our way across the cosmos in ships of our own making, but here, we are parasites, microbes, feasting on the remains of a dead life form that is superior to us even in death. Is this a commentary on humans in general? Is Earth not a dead god floating through space while we pillage its remains? I don't know. What I do know is I wanted to drag out this description as long as possible because, as fun as this game will be to play, it makes utter dog shit B-roll footage, and I choose chaos. This drops July 3rd. Olga Doesn't Die, PC. This visual novel follows a romance set against the backdrop of a nation on the brink of revolution. Food shortages, unfair taxation, and war have pushed the populace to its breaking point. The setting makes gestures to the final days of the Tsars of Russia. Things are not good, is what I'm saying. The parallels don't stop there either. Hushed whispers speak of the imperial advisor being an immortal witch and the devil in disguise. But unlike Rasputin, this advisor is exiled from the capital as the world spins out of control. With 2 possible love interests and 4 endings, there are reasons to go through this experience multiple times. This drops July 3rd. Knockout Battle, PC. I've dated myself more than a few times already, so I don't care anymore. Stickman fighting games and animations were an obsession with me and my people when we were younger. Knockout Battle keeps that addicting games dream alive. The goal is simple: destroy your friends, blow them up or catapult them off the map. At your disposal is a whole litany of bonkers weapons: TNT, rockets, Thor's hammer, things that aren't lightsabers but are lightsabers, drink potions that make you big, small, faster, stronger, whatever. Be extra careful as even the maps can turn on you. This drops July 3rd. Idle, Intergalactic Defense League Exterminators, PC. I had to do a double take on this one because I thought I did it already. Yes, there are 2 games with Idle in the title on this list, though this one is a little more active than the other one. It borrows from arcade games of old, blasting through waves of alien invaders. As you do so, you'll collect their remains and upgrade your stuff. Eventually, you'll go from little pea shooter systems to giant Death Star-like destruction lasers. But it's low stress. Exterminate the enemy July 3rd. And that's it. Lullabies Made of Static gets the up nod this week. I just want to learn what it means to feel again. Doom scrolling has taken something from me. If you're a sick freak who loves to party, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment saying something nice about Old Gamer Joe. I've been Tricky Tom, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to help us continue to be able to bring a voice to the voiceless. Join the over 60,000 indie warriors that have said goodbye to the gaming echo chamber. For even more support, head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames, where you can get Discord access, early shows, exclusive content, and more, now with a brand new $2 entry tier. Or check out YouTube memberships for exclusive badges, custom emoji, and other fun perks. Support real people making real things, because here at I Dream of Indie Games, it's always about the games.